Hello everybody, this is Ethercourt here, and welcome to my newest video for today. Now for today's video, we're going to have a slightly negative video, but also kind of a thought-provoking video, if that makes sense, because we're going to be going into enemy territory for a little bit. And I'm not saying it is in a way to kind of antagonize other people or so that don't fully agree with furries, but we're going to try to understand them, because today's video, we're going to be talking about the argument against being a furry. That's right, guys. Today, we're going to try to think from the mind of someone who's not necessarily an anti-furry troll hater, but we're going to talk about the typical person that doesn't really think that highly of furries like me, like, oh, they're weird or so. And we're going to try to understand them. And we're going to try to find the issues within our own community to potentially help us find out why people outside of the community might not fully agree with the whole furry concept. So with that all being discussed and out of the way, let's now dive into the argument against being a furry. Now, first, let's just clear out of the way. I love the furry community. I'm not trying to hate on us, but we have to consider the fact that this fandom is not perfect, like every other kind of group or community within the internet. Nintendo fans can be annoying, Sony fans can be annoying, Microsoft fans can be annoying, Apple, Samsung, Bronies, Sonic the Hedgehog, Team Fortress 2, PC fans, Rick and Morty fans, all of them can potentially be annoying. And it doesn't mean that every person involved with that community is bad. There just can be aspects to where some can be a little bit more toxic than others, but we have to consider our own community of the furry fandom and consider what makes us not perfect and how this video can potentially make us understand what's necessarily we can work on to make our fandom as good as we can possibly make it for the outside world. Now, some people might question us like, why do people dislike furries so much? Now, if we think outside of them just being like, oh, you're just a jerk, you don't like people being creative or being themselves, we have to consider what's actually potentially wrong with our community, and there are a few things. The first thing, which I'm not going to say the actual word because I don't want to risk demonetization, are people that really like animals. And I mean really like animals. These people have been known for causing a lot of issues within the community. They caused it, I would say, more so back in the 80s. They were more prevalent, and they're not as prevalent as right now, but they're still definitely an issue. When you go online, be it on Twitter or any other website, be it on FA, or if you go on some places on YouTube, especially we got, you know that Caro and everything, we gotta consider Caro, good old Caro. There's definitely an issue of people who abuse their animals and use them for things that are not good. And it's definitely an issue within our community that's still prevalent, and we need to call that out and hopefully potentially can make people understand what they're doing is wrong. And hopefully and if they're not going to be willing to listen, we're going to be like, we're not going to let you within this community. You're not one of us. You're not going to make the whole fandom look bad and potentially make people hate furries even more so. But again, I would say the one I just mentioned is probably one of the biggest issues. So we're just going to get the big one out of the way. There we go. The second biggest issue, in my opinion, would have to be the potential predators. And those people are definitely the ones that we've seen on Twitter with the whole map situation and everything. And they have definitely been an issue, not just within the furry community, but every other community as well that has a lot of fans that are underage. So we definitely need to consider calling out those people, reporting them to authorities, also to blocking them on Twitter, and also reporting them to Twitter regulations, even though Twitter is really bad with moderating their own website. And we just really need to call these people out because, again, unlike the whole issue with people who enjoy animals too much, this one, however, is something that affects all communities online and can potentially be the sole reason as to what could possibly keep a lot of really young, inspiring artists and people have their parents from keeping them getting online and doing their stuff online, be it with being a content creator or making artwork online. It's definitely an issue and we have to consider it. Another issue we have to consider, and this one is not as big as the first two, and that issue is the over-sexualization of many aspects of the community. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having YIF art or enjoying artwork for the furry community that's considered not safe for work, but there are definitely times where furries or fursuiters will go up to non-furries, be it conventions or at any other place, and they'll just be very weirdly sexual because even though, again, you have fun in the furry world and everything when you're outside of your own personal home doing whatever you want with other people in fursuit or whatever you want to do, I don't judge, as long as it's legal, you have to consider that it can definitely potentially weird people out. And I know not for everybody, the fandom is, the whole purpose for them is for a sexual purpose. Some people it's mixed, and there's some people in this community that aren't into it for the sexual aspect at all, and we have to respect that. Now, it is definitely important that we be honest with people, and they should be aware that, yeah, for some furries, it is just for the sexual reason, but it's not for the whole thing. For some people, it's a mixture, which is fine. And again, for people who only use it for sex, that's also fine, just as long as they don't be annoying to outsiders about it. And for some people, it's not a sexual thing at all, and they're just into it for the artistic aspect, to make friends, and to just overall express themselves. So we have to consider that as well, and we definitely need to hold back some of the more inappropriate things that some people will do at conventions to other furries and non-furries alike, and we have to address this issue and make it better. The next thing we have to bring up for the argument for why people will be against being a furry, or why a lot of people don't like furries, has to be the overbearing furries. I won't deny, I used to be like this back when I joined the fandom back in 2014 to 2015, when I was still a teenager in high school, and you definitely see this more with like teenagers that join the community, where they're super excited to get into everything, and even to non-furries, they just force it down people's throats so freaking much. It's crazy. And they'll go on and on about how, oh, this is my persona, look at this cool artwork I got, look at this YIF art, it's so awesome, I'm a furry, YIF, YIF, YIF. And it can definitely be annoying, and I'm sorry if I'm being kind of harsh, but that's exactly how I was like back when I was like 15 or 16. And now I'm 22 and I cringe at my high school self so much. So again, we got to consider that. We have to consider how maybe we have to be more understanding, like maybe, hey, maybe this is more of a teenager thing, but also at the same time, we got to maybe just keep ourselves up and also consider maybe it makes sense why non-furries get annoyed at us so much at times. The next thing we have to consider, and this is definitely more of a specific issue, and this has to do with wearing fursuits in areas where you're not supposed to, or it's inappropriate to do so. Now, when there's like an event going on at a pizza parlor, or there's an event going on at a vet or something like that, where a lot of people come together and they have food, or there's like a special event or a charity drive going on, I guess it would make sense to just bring your fursuit. I've done it a few times when it wasn't necessary, or it'd have other people dressing up and such, and people loved it. But then there'll be other times where you'll just go in fursuit to a McDonald's or something like that, or you'll go into Walmart or whatever freaking like place that you have in your country or whatever that has a specific brand. What do Canadians have? They have like what, Tim Hortons or something like that, or they have EB Games. Dress up as a furry at EB Games or Tim Hortons in Canada. That sounds awesome. But anyways, though, you have to consider that there definitely are safety concerns when it comes to having your whole face covered in a fursuit head. And when you have the manager who works at the place, or you have other people that work there, people who are coming in there to shop, they might feel uncomfortable because maybe they don't know what furries are, because again, it's still kind of an underground thing which is slowly coming into the mainstream over time. But we have to consider that these people might be like, oh, what's going on? Am I getting robbed or something? And they might feel scared, especially if they have children around. And I understand you want to do it for a YouTube video because there's usually a camera involved, and like the kids might love it for the most part. But again, before you go and do that, definitely whatever place you're going to go with your fursuit head on, unless they're specifically instructing to have costumes on, make sure that they allow masks, or make sure that the place does not have any rules or regulations about covering your whole face, because there have been people who have gotten in trouble, be it at their college or a restaurant or at a mall or whatever, and they got arrested because they were wearing their fursuit head and people couldn't see their whole face. And there's like laws and everything about not having your face fully shown, because they might think you could be someone who's going to terrorize people, or you're going to be someone who's going to rob or something like that. It's just for safety reasons and just common sense altogether. The next thing we got to consider for why people don't like furries, and it's a legitimate one, this is probably the most true one, oh my god, and it's also for every other community out there, because we're all human beings and people, and that is drama. Drama is definitely very rampant within this community, because you have a lot of teenagers, you have a lot of high sex hormone adults. It's honest to God more of a young people thing, like be it teenagers and early 20-somethings, and we just get into drama and everything like you would in a workplace. And we can't deny that a lot of the drama and everything has to involve petty shit, and a lot of people getting into arguments about things that don't really matter, or something you'll get into a huge drama fest in, and then like 4 or 5 years from now you'll be like, that was a really dumb thing to start a whole drama fest over. So yeah, we definitely need to work on the drama and everything. We got to learn to understand each other better and not have so much like hostility when it comes to like trying to impress one another, because again, the furry fandom kind of structures like high school would be it like, oh, my artwork's better than this, or oh, this person did this thing and all, and it's just, I don't know, I even get into it myself, but again, we just gotta work on it, guys, come on. Another issue, and this is the last one, and I feel like this is the one that's not addressed as much, but it definitely is something that people outside definitely address when they don't like furries, and they're kind of right on this, and that is the lack of being able to accept criticism. And this happens to tend to come from a lot of furries within the community who get mad or pissed off or upset when people outside of the community don't approve of them being a furry, and they're like, oh, you're just being a hater, or oh, you're not for people being cool, why are you calling me cringe, or something like that. And the thing is, though, even if they're wrong, or even if their mindset's dumb, you gotta respect their opinion on that, because the only person in the world you can change is yourself, and you can't change them. So the issue really is that you gotta learn to accept the criticism better. If they're like, oh, you suck, or oh, I don't accept you being a furry because it's weird, or oh, I think these genuine issues you guys have in the fandom, I'm critiquing you to hopefully better yourself and understand the fandom better to hopefully make it better. And then they themselves are gonna be like, well, you suck, blocked. And again, that's mostly something you see in the more younger furries, but again, it's definitely an issue, and we have to, again, get away from the drama, and we also have to learn to either ignore the haters or peacefully argue back at them. And some of us do a really good job, and definitely a lot of us don't do a good job at that. And that pretty much wraps up this video for you guys today about the arguments against being a furry. How do you guys feel about my list of things that are genuine criticisms about the furry fandom that make outsiders not like us? Do you guys agree with my list? Do you guys not agree? Is there any of them that I missed out on? Let me know down in the comment section down below. If you enjoy my content and want to further help out my channel, please consider donating to me on Patreon as well as my coffee. Also, remember to smash that like button, turn on that notification bell, and subscribe altogether. Remember to check out my main gaming channel known as See-Through Games and my no commentary gaming channel known as See-Through Chills. All that will be linked down in the description down below. Again, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. I've been See-Through, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, everyone. Back to the log and see if we can get some. Get some, yeah. Or I could just jump in the log, but that's way too freaking risky. Ooh, damn, risky from Everybody Hates Chris. Oh, that was funny. That was a good show. It really was. Okay.